Hi, I'm Brittany Diamond, and before I began my fitness journey with Young for Life Wellness, I looked like this.
Welcome to Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talks.
This is Fargo Talks.
Farrah Abraham, welcome to Fargo Talks.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff.
My pleasure.
It's good to be in Vegas, seriously.
How often do you get to town?
Not much. So I really, went out of my way to come to Vegas, but I was excited to see my friends and see some new stuff in Las Vegas. I'm checking out the Virgin Hotel, which I've heard tons about, and some of their restaurants, and I got some new favorite stuff. Like the Lucia restaurant, tacos, everything in Las Vegas, at the Virgin. So it's kind of been like pool. I'm doing cabana tomorrow there.
Fun.
And seeing some new girlfriends. So yeah, we're doing some recording, having some podcasts with you. And yeah, the airport's been wild today.
Yeah, what happened?
You know what? I thought I was texting everyone, hey, I'm going to be there sooner than I thought. Hurry up and come early. And no joke, I think I was like 40 minutes late of what I said because I was derailed at the airport. I don't know. There's some shuttle lines going on. I've never seen a shuttle line to go get your rental car like I did. They were like loading people up in buses, creating like really actually a traffic jam. I was just running around trying to get like a car anywhere and to beat the line.
Depending on the time of day and the day,
okay,
it's either bananas or it's a ghost town.
Okay, well, it's hump day today. It should not be busy.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. But I made it happen, but I was a little late.
That's all right. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for having me.
So I'm an only child.
Yeah.
And
it felt like I was.
That's what in my research. In my research with you, like and growing up, was brought up by mostly my mom. My dad was around, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of like stuff I had to figure out on my own. Right. And I see that in you, that there's a lot of stuff you had to figure out on your own.
Totally.
All due respect, your mom, it's like, is her therapist's like wet dream.
Yes. She is definitely a reality TV show's dream.
Well, I mean, to be an executive producer of a reality show and to see her, it's like, oh my God, like what? Show me her offspring.
Yeah.
When do you remember a time in your life when it was just like, I need to be more grounded? It's just things are chaotic.
Man, I think I was always trying to find groundedness, especially as a child. I loved being outdoors. I would pretty much I was always like the person who ditched the whole scene. Like even kids in my neighborhood or kids at school, I really just liked outdoors. Like I'd be just like kicking a ball for hours outside or just like playing with butterflies. Like, I don't know. People always thought I would just really kind of do my own grounding and thing, like go be on my own. Yeah, it was, otherwise I just felt now that I'm educated, it's the mental, I just call it mental illness because when someone doesn't want help, someone doesn't want to educate others of the help and they just want to be right all the time.
Yeah.
The mental illness was a lot to handle growing up.
In what ways have you kind of taken that and become a better mom to Sophia, your daughter, than your mom was to you?
Yeah, you know what? My makeup artist before I got here was talking my ear off about this. And I said, people always, like the crew and other people around me always were like, oh yeah, you're going to have like a relationship like your mom has with you and your daughter. And I think that's definitely the wrong thing to say to someone. Yeah. But I also was like, I will figure out how to not have a mother-daughter relationship like I had for my child. I will figure out a way for my child to not be around wounded public high school people like I was. I will figure out a way to help shape her mind better and sharper, and so she can be herself and feel comfortable at home and wherever she goes. because I didn't. And I think it's not everything's going to repeat like everybody else likes to do. I think it's literally like, I will figure it out. I will find a way.
Yeah.
And I sure did. And it's 16 years later and full circle. Guess what? No one's got the same parent relationship. No one failed at being a parent here. And I'm really excelling. And so is my daughter. And I'm really proud of that. So yeah, forget all the lies that you hear.
What is the one piece of advice you would give your 16-year-old self now?
Don't take anything or anyone around you serious. No one knows what they're talking about. And still stay focused on your dreams, goals, and aspirations. It just might take a little bit longer than you think.
The one line I hate is when people say, fake it till you make it. I fucking hate that line.
I think you got to manifest. I think you have to align. You have to see your dreams come to pass and they become. And that is what I do. That is what I've seen my entire life, even my own career and others. And I know that to be true. Mm-hmm.
It's just something that, I mean, you can give up, but then nobody wins, you know. But you and the thing is, though, as a mom, you can't give up.
Yeah.
You have a life that you are now in charge of.
Yeah, you know, life and being an adult. And, you know, whether I've been severely assaulted, severely attacked, as a lot of people know and have seen, like broad day kidnapped, all sorts of stuff I've been through, all sorts of criminal shit I've had to weather. And I still, you know, pop up like a daisy. I have to just say, it's just like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And I think the only thing that people can do is decide that I want to be civilized. I want to learn how to reparent myself. I want a better life for myself. And until that happens, like, you know, when I go to Dubai, and that's a different society, and people they want more civilization. They want just like a better life. Same way when I took my daughter to like Japan. My daughter and I have been around so many places in different cultures, and I did that purposely growing up with her because even though myself, like, I didn't get to understand. I was, you know, it's like I was raised in this like almost like a racist, closed-minded bubble. And when I went out and I saw, oh my gosh, people might have less resources, but they're having better lives. And like, why is this? What do they teach themselves? And I think that is really cool to bring into everybody's life. So yeah, when you're an adult and all these things happen, it's like, okay, like clearly I have to change my setting. I have to change my resources. And like, then, you know, things really, you know, get better. So like, I don't live in LA anymore because I just kept being attacked by security guards, wrongfully put in jail, made out to be a horrible person, but that's not who I was. The scene was wrong. And so then when I go to like Austin, Texas, everything's good. The scene's right. And I flourish. And like, yeah, I just keep leveling up in my career. So I feel like just find the best place for you to be good. And that doesn't mean a big city. And I think a lot of people who want fame, they go to a big city and they feel like that's what they need. I started 16 pregnant teen mom in Iowa in the middle of nowhere. And I highly recommend other people do their starting and their beginning of fame in the middle of nowhere versus a big city.
Absolutely. Well, you're kind of like unmolded clay.
Yeah.
Right? And you're out in the sticks. I come from upstate New York of a city of 20,000 people. So it's like, I know it all too well.
You can find the suburbs anywhere. I'll say that.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
What city, having traveled the world with your daughter, if you could live anywhere else outside of the United States, where and why?
Well, I would live in Dubai. My daughter, wow. Sometimes I think she's still leaning more towards, she was saying Singapore. She did like that when we were there. We did the whole crazy rich Asian stay and like dream vacay. And then sometimes, yeah, I do feel like though she does lean more towards Japan just because the weather, the diversity, the ease. She can easily go anywhere and like get anything that she wants. In Singapore, it kind of just felt a little muggier and a little harder sometimes. So yeah, she'd probably be Singapore. I'd probably be Dubai.
Why Dubai?
I can literally not plan a trip. I can drop in, which I've done many a time. I drop into Dubai and I literally am sitting with like the creators of Dubai. And I don't really look at them at the titles that they are given in their society. So it's kind of just like, I don't know. I just show up and I'm friends with designers and people who are running Dubai. And I just like, I fit right in. I'm going to the events. I'm doing all the things and it's not hard. Again, it's just like my alignment is there. I fly in, I drop in, this is where I belong. And I think like kind of being told as a little child, like in Iowa, like to not be who you are, to not embrace who you are. And then when you finally do in a different like country and a different culture, I think like that's like a huge deal. So I think like for me, yeah, being able to have that and be embraced for who I am and people not telling me to like lesser than myself or lesser value, just like live and be, I think that's peace. And I like living in peace. Mm-hmm.
And you fight for that peace.
I fight for that peace.
You fight for that peace, my friend.
Oh, I do fight for that peace. I fly for it and I fight for it.
It's like, from what I've seen with you, it's when did you realize that you usually have the biggest dick in the room?
It's like, I think I pretty much have always realized this. But I think I'm very kind. I think I've been too kind because I don't believe in ego. And I think some people who believe in leading with ego, self-sabotaging behaviors. I also think people like self-deceiving. There's like something in like my coaching. It's like people self-deceive themselves. And I think because I am the mom, I am the dad, I am the person who's teaching me, raising me, parenting me. I'm helping someone else. I'm healing myself. I believe in not self-deceiving, self-sabotaging myself. And I do believe other adults who are my superior, who have worked over me, or my parents, they are very undermining. And I think in order to deal with someone who has such narcissism, abusive tendencies, egotistical behavior, I feel like it gets me nowhere, especially when there's been guns involved, there's been criminal activity involved when these things happen. I think to just get everybody grounded, I'm going to just bring it down. And I need to bring that energy down and like, let's just like level here. And I don't need to bring any of my strengths or my anything, even my weaknesses. I don't need to bring it to the conversation. I just know like this, I will always, like, I think this is the bottom line. I will always do what is best for the entire group. And that means if half the group, like, and I'm going to get like real, if half the group is Republican, the other half is Democrat, the other person's atheist, this one's religious, I will literally, I don't care what anyone is, I will literally just make the best choice for everybody in that room. And half of them will always disagree, but they will always reap the benefits of me making a good choice for the entire group. And sometimes I don't even take meetings anymore. I don't go into rooms. I just act because I think like also a good parent, they don't need to be told, they don't need to be reminded. I just go do what's best and I don't need to talk about it anymore. And I think, yeah, I learned that lesson a lot with some of my friends who were married and their husbands had to act like they had, say over their wives, say over my lives, say everything over anything, reaching out to my parents about me. And I think, and then I'm in their houses and like, they're not there because they're getting a divorce now. I feel like, full circle can happen very quickly, but it's just because people don't stay on like a guide of goodness. And I do now.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's something that you have this internal barometer.
Yeah.
And you just run by feel.
I do.
Right?
I have to. That's what's kept me alive, honestly.
It's especially now with, like you mentioned, politics.
Yeah.
It's bananas what goes on now.
It can be bananas if you want it to be bananas.
Good
right?
point.
I just boiled politics down to this because I learned this in a trauma center when I was doing intensive healing. They did not allow anyone. They did not allow anyone to talk, play, bring up anything political. And I kept asking, why is that? Why is that, right? Because I don't have an issue. She goes, half of politics is there to basically get you off all of the foundations of like this 12-step principle guide. And she goes, half the people here don't practice the 12-step principle guide for the regulation. So when you bring in politics that is there to gaslight, there to manipulate, they don't know which way is what. And she goes, I can't waste all day long in my teachings on political parties. So we just say that's not allowed here. And that's true. There was a lot of men who were even retired. They're here and they're lawyers or whatever they were. And they just want to keep bringing up politics and going against the rules. And she just said, people are traumatized by politics. I refuse to be traumatized by politics. But my grandpa growing up, he actually loved going to the mall growing up, and he would bring me with him. And he would talk to everybody, all the men, if they agreed with him, if they didn't. He was never scared of staying in his thought process and allowing other people to share their thought process. And he could be sane and he could have a conversation. A lot of people today can't have control over themselves. They have to fire people. Like I was wrongfully fired from a TV show. It was political. It wasn't because I was in porn. It was because someone voted Democrat and I voted Republican. I just say this out loud so everybody understands. And then we saw this rippling effect across our country where a lot of people were let go because of their political beliefs. So I just say, I had to tell a lawyer this week, we're not going to bring politics into my emails because I'm focused on winning.
Yeah.
And I'm focused on winning millions of dollars for all of you, even though you might hate me, but I'm the reason why you're getting money. And I think, I did break up with my last boyfriend. I'm going to just say it like this. We had a couples therapist, and I think I learned a lot from this. My dad told me, never marry someone with different political views as you, because he got married this last round. And she was putting on some crazy news every night that was so hateful. And she wanted everyone to watch it. And so I would. And then I'd just say my feelings. And she's like, you just can't be quiet and just watch it. And I go, no, because it's like you want me to watch something negative and I'm not into it. But you get drunk, blackout drunk. She was an alcoholic. And then she just absorbed all the negativity. And so no matter how kind and courteous and sitting down and watching whatever news you want to watch, it just never got better. And it really tore apart a family. And it wasn't nice for the kids and the grandkids involved. And I think when I had the opportunity after learning from what my dad told me, I was in a relationship where we had different political views and we get into therapy and our therapist was like, okay, here's the reality of this situation. You guys can talk about anything you want to talk about. You guys can have different religious views. You guys can do anything. But the time in which that no one remains curious and no one remains respectful to one another, then this will never be a good relationship. And that's basically what occurred. So the person who voted opposite of me always had something severely hateful to say about the other party, whether it was wishing them death and all this other crazy stuff. And so, he couldn't play by the rules of life to have a good relationship. And so I moved on. So my dad was definitely right in that. But my dad is in a relationship where that is always tension. So we can choose whatever we want. We can work around people who hate us. We can have relationships where people kind of hate us. And I think I had so much of that growing up that I really, really, take my time in who I date and who I'm around now.
Well, your time, they're not making any more of it.
They're not making any more time. I think the one thing I resent about myself is, oh my God, did I waste my time? And I try to not have any resentments, but time can get me all wound up.
Chiron uses Young for Life wellness, and now he's literally glowing.
Meanwhile, my glow comes from studio lighting and desperation.
Called wellness, Jeff.
I prefer denial. You're someone that, like I said, I give the biggest dick in the room. Honey Bunny, you're a fucking fighter.
Mhm.
You're a fighter. And that's what drew me. I'm like, yeah. Like when Lindsay said you should have Farrah on, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this bitch is not afraid of anyone or anything when it comes to herself, her values, her family.
Mhm.
And that's something that should be celebrated because nowadays it's like, what?
Mhm.
Up is down, down is up.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you voted for, but look at just common sense
Yeah.
with what's going on. I have a Reagan Bush 84 t-shirt, right?
Get it.
Right? And so I wore that on a podcast episode. I have people throwing me hate going, oh, Reagan was the worst. I'm like, you're 23 years old. You don't even know who fucking Reagan was.
Yeah, maybe it's nostalgic. Maybe you like it.
Yes.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Maybe you're like, this is funny.
Oh, Farrah,
You
fucking
know?
hilarious.
Like,
how
just have a good time here.
People don't take the time to educate themselves.
Yeah.
My daughter, who's 15, I love her.
Mhm.
She's more, more liberal leaning because
Okay.
of her mom. It's fine. We still have talks about it. And I
Yeah.
said, honey, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
it was okay to have different opinions.
hmm
I still love you unconditionally. You're my daughter.
That's right.
I love you.
Yeah.
And if you think that Trump is the worst person ever, okay, but quantify your statement and tell me why.
Yeah.
And we can agree to disagree.
You know what's crazy about the generational thing, which I love? I love being challenged. Like my personality type, just so if anyone gets it wrong in the room, my Enneagram, if you guys even know what that is, it is challenger. And so I think like when you have that personality type, you just need to know I do not fear anything. I will go in a place where I am hated and I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay. And so I do believe from having this fear inventory again at a center that I was at and watching like 40 some men, a couple women, I do see that people live in fear. I do see when we have like a herd mentality, whether that's at a school or just anywhere where there's huge groups of people, you will have more fear than you will have confidence. And that's why I kind of took my child out of this. And so when she hears from a cousin or this or that who's in public school, all this, whether, I was called transphobic by one of my nieces. And after buying this girl so many things, after embracing that she wants to change her name and change it back and all that, I also said, well, I'm not like sexually confused. I embrace everyone and everything. I like to learn more. And so if you would like to call me names, then we're going to have a discussion and we'll see if you win the discussion or if I win the discussion. And as she challenged me in this and, I'm transphobic or I'm racist or I'm this, like I can be called a million different names. And I literally didn't see her validate why I was transphobic. I didn't see her validate her own sexual gender that she claimed that she was choosing, to the point of me being so kind throughout this whole conversation and taking her out for her birthday and everything. I did call her mom and I did say, I have no problem spending time with someone for their birthday, having them around, doing the whole weekend and doing all this stuff. And it wasn't like planned, but if someone is going to make me out to be something that I'm not and not hear me for who I am, but say I'm phobic of something that I'm not, I go, then we're going to have to just, cut it where it is here. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff for our grandparents. Like I don't play this Mrs. Perfect role anymore. And I think sometimes when you play like the whole safe, I'm in fear, Mrs. Perfect, you start actually believing what younger generations are saying. And I think that is the biggest wrong direction to go when I've lived life, have friends all over the planet, and I actually just don't care about other people's sexual preferences. So you can be lesbian one day and you can turn bi the next day. And until you get like sexually confident and know what you're talking about, I think, those like lashing outs, I just call like the younger generation, those lashing outs. I can take it all day. Like, I think it's funny. But when it kind of gets around my daughter, who is very impressionable, like all of our teens are, I know I was, I do think she needs to understand to not hate something, to be, again, curious, like our therapists have showed us, to understand. And I'm just like, look, if you don't even know the facts to argue with me, please use AI against me. You just pull up whoever the hell you hate, what you don't like, what you don't know. Pull up all those facts, read all about it. And then you can be right as much as you want to be right. But yeah, I don't go into anything hating anyone because that just like doesn't get me anywhere. And like people all over the internet every day always try to say like, you like this person, you vote for this person. And like, they know I'm going through a sexual assault and things right now. And they say some crazy stuff. And I say, yeah, but you know, if you want to point fingers and then not look at someone's whole relationship timeline, like I have to go do for court, and then you see all these breakdowns. So if we want to compare, like rapists to rapists, if we want to compare like relationships to relationships, and if we want to hate someone, I think we need to just like really bring the argument and the like resources of where your argument stems from. I don't like the lashing out. And I think like haters, the lashing out, teens who don't know what they're talking about, lashing out. Lashing out is really a waste of my time. And yeah, because when I come to court, I come with all the resources. I'm not playing around. And, you know, I still don't even wish like all the people who have me in court right now trying to get like millions of dollars from me and trying to say all these horrible things for me right now who have attacked me. I have to say, I really don't even hate them. I literally understand more so now than ever because I did the personal work. I had to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars to get my life back. And when you realize some people are just born with no one to care about them, like even, you know, your hardest criminals, they'll be, you know, they'll have like their parents hide them in their houses and they act like this is love and they shield them. The criminal behavior that's awful. It's like sociopathic. It's severe narcissism that other victims have to go heal from and fix. But like their parents didn't care enough about the criminals who we deal with every day. They didn't care enough about them, but they shield them and they hide them. But they never taught their sons or their daughters who they were. They never like scanned their brains. They didn't say, hey, this is like maybe what you're born with and like what you're going to have a hard time with. Whether that's borderline disorder or any other thing, right? Nobody really truly knows themselves. And this is sad for like our jail systems until our, you know, and it's sad.
God, yes.
Yeah, like it's sad because mental health ADA compliancy is not recognized in jail. But if you do something so severe, then they usually like a research project. They'll then scan your brain. Oh, and then instead of death row and like killing you, well, then maybe we'll see what was going on. Oh, you had like a thing in your brain that was creating you to be violent. But I think that is truly sad. Like it's not anything I could actually hate someone for who's attacked me. I think it's actually just like, wow, I'm actually really sorry that you had like a severe situation growing up that like has now affected a whole community and your parents still don't care enough about you.
Right. It's something that we all, especially as parents, we're led to calm. We just want calm for our kids, for ourselves, for our loved ones. We just want calm. What do you do to achieve calm? Is it meditation? Is it supplements? Is it yoga? What do you do to be calm?
I mean, I'm going to just say it. The best thing to be calm, and most of the people in the world say, why is this important? Why do we do it? It is truly meditation. If you have any serotonin or dopamine displacement, which a lot of people with ADA compliant disabilities do, when you are meditating of any sort, once you finish it, you're automatically getting a dopamine like hit, release. You're finishing something. You're breathing. You're regulating yourself. You only get calm when you breathe properly and you get to connect with yourself, maybe reflect. go to a higher power, go to your higher self. There's also priming. Priming is just like a breathing technique and a focus on how the world is actually working for you, not against you. And I think those things are the most powerful to have calm. And I use that every day, especially with like some really deep stuff that I write about for like scripts, pitches, and work and creating characters. And I think like you need to always have that. And I think, yeah, maybe that was missed growing up.
What was the breathing that you brought up?
Okay,
Then we'll come back to it.
priming.
Yeah. What's that?
So Tony Robbins, by the way, I've done so many Tony Robbins stuff. He has something about time. Like I said, I get resentful about time. So I do like a 12-step thing with time. And Tony Robbins has this on one of his apps. But in the Unstoppable Her program that I had for my daughter and myself, we learned this priming technique. But anyone can get it. It's on YouTube. And like you're breathing like... But you're doing this for like 3 sets and then you're thinking about something. You're like bringing your palms down and you're bringing calm in. You're inviting it. You're receiving it. And do I have to do this to do work? I think that's the little bit.
Yes.
And you know what? I used to not say that I needed that. I will say I literally had to, like, I surprised myself the other day and I caught this by reviewing my behavior. And I was like, I don't think I can dive back into this deep scene. I think I'm just spent. And then I just was like, oh, I'm going to go meditate. And then, you know, your feed reminds you of like what you watched and the priming came up. And my crazy self was just like, okay, it must be meant to be. I'll do it again. And because I usually like to do it once a week. But this week and last week, it's been like actually every day. But again, I think sometimes I have to say I do live a life that has, like when you use your emotions, it like emotionally drains your brain. And when you have a lot of emotional depth going on, I feel like you have to prime, you have to rebalance, you have to have meditation. Because then I'm like, oh, well, I want to go have fun with my daughter. I don't want to like be stuck in work. My dogs, like my pets, they see everything. They're like on my lap. They're seeing me cry. They're like seeing me type. Even like on the plane here, I was like writing a journal and I was like writing work. And like this poor woman next to me saw like a fucking freak show. And she loved it. And she was like, giving me Kleenex. She was giving me treats. She didn't want anyone else to sit by us. And I just let myself be. I used to like hide everything that's going on. And I just feel like, yeah, I'm crying and I'm smiling at the same time. I'm feeling good. This is what's up. So yeah, I do believe in probably doing it every day if you're like really emotionally like exercising that.
Are you a crier?
I don't really like to cry, but I've been crying.
How come?
Oh, it was just like, I think like the stuff that I'm on right now, again, it's like this full circle year. I remember specifically today, we'll just take today, because like this journal that I wrote today was actually kind of like a letter. So like, I don't really do talk therapy that much. My therapists are like, you do so well. You excel so much when you're like, so they have this language of letting go app. And the therapist was like, let's read this. Let's talk this through. And then it ended up just being like, okay, you journal, we'll talk about your journal. And then she's like, okay, you can just do this. And so that's like how I got to this point in my life. So I read the language of letting go app today. And then it was talking about coping. And we need to let go of coping mechanisms because we used to use them for safety and now they hold us back. Reflect. There is a full circle year going on in my life right now. And there's also like my daughter's father's birthday tomorrow. So there was a lot going on today. And yeah, so I also just like did a whole book to film adaptation with the book that I was talking about earlier, the one that was on the New York Times bestsellers list. And for some reason, in this coping mechanism journal, thinking about his birthday, like letting life move on to where it is presently with my daughter being 16. And it like like for years I've been thinking about this, but it's like, it's beautiful having, it's also beautiful having someone who's passed, because reflection is the biggest way that you can grow, is the best way to have courage and strength. And so I thank his life for that all the time. And then you got Mother's Day coming up. So it's like a birthday. I'm a mom because of him. There's proms that are going on right now. That's where like all the stuff happens in the book and our relationship starts. And then there's my daughter and us this year. And it's like, wow, I remember all of everything. And it's a rush of emotions. And I'm just so proud of our daughter. I'm proud of where I am. And it's really kind of like a beautiful circus of emotions today, this time. And it was really weird with this coping probe on my journal. And then I was like, yeah, my coping mechanisms were keeping things safe, controllable, perfect. And I've tried to stop having control of things. A lot of people were always like, my parents specifically, you're trying to control stuff. And it was just like, okay, well, then I need everybody out of my life who makes things uncontrollable, who is like, you're overwhelming me. It's like an emotional drain every day. And really, it's been the healthiest thing. And it's odd that it took me 13 years, realizing where does the time go? It took me 13 years to do a book adaptation that I got degrees for. I've hired writers, and I just kept saying, I don't like anything that you're doing. I don't like anything that you're making the story out to. And it just, reflection. It's just like you coping. It was a mess. It wasn't nice to some people sometimes. And it's crazy how I didn't stop healing. I didn't stop taking care of my mental health. And then boom, in 4 days, I wrote a whole book adaptation. And I don't know, when you get to reflect on how screwy your mental state is and your coping mechanisms and how it's sabotaging your life, and then everything's kind of like beautiful and a mess while you're doing this reflective work. Yeah. So that's why I'm sometimes laughing, sometimes crying, sometimes doing a lot of stuff this year. But in all, it's like happiness. I'm just really happy my brain can go there, can finish something.
Well, it's to come to completion.
Yeah.
Has
I'm just
to be
amazed.
Very healing.
Like, I just feel like a weight. Even my doctors who like saw me this week for ketamine treatment were like, why are you so calm? Like last week it was like, and I go, yeah, I just was like, I kept getting in the way. I kept feeling like, should I do this? Should I not? Should I revisit this? Should I not? And I think, again, coping, should I revisit old memories that could be upsetting? Should I? But it's like, I read this book and I wrote the screenplay and I'm like, oh my God, why was I holding myself back from visiting again? I like clarity. I love this. Why am I holding myself back from basically like a book that is my best friend, that is everybody else's story? Honestly, it's not just my story. No. This is a story of many teens, many people in high school. It's a story of like my makeup artist, Steven, who's chatting with me, and probably why I was late today, because she's just like so grateful to talk to someone who can say like, yeah, people weren't allowing us to be who we are and we didn't feel safe and like all this stuff happened to us. And I think that's like the book, the story. And yeah, so I do use that book often. I'm like, oh, I love that you could read this to my daughter. Like, I'm just like, this is kind of what it was. And if you want to read it, it's kind of like everybody's life right now. Your cousins, everybody else is going to go through this at school. And yeah, so that's why I think it's so important to be a film and to kind of like have it in a lighter tone than real life, because real life is sometimes so heavy and hard to get through. And I think that's why I still love writing. I believe in entertainment. even though it's really hard to work around a lot of people. And yeah, so in spite of it all, it's like, even my mom calling me like Antichrist and acting like I'm Satan growing up, I still have a really good relationship with God today. And, so it's like, even if your work like makes you feel like you suck at your job and they fire you, in spite of them, just go back.
How do you work in entertainment when there's people that you just don't jive with? It's just, there's the chemistry is not there. The vibe isn't there. How do you get yourself in a mindset to go, okay, I've got a job to do, got to get through this?
I got a story to share, and they're not going to get in the way of the story. I also say this, like, God gave me the opportunity. God created the opportunity for them to work with me. And again, no one is going to get in the way of like what God created for me. And tons of people, men and women, have tried to exercise their powers at insane rates with me. And they never won over God. I'm going to just say it's like the magical power of the universe. They never beat it. And so then now they show up to my comedy shows. Now they're flying into Vegas to have dinner with me while I'm here. But I will never show them the behavior that they gave me. And I feel like
For you.
the only way that you can help someone who can't help themselves is by giving that example, welcoming it. And I think like because of this, they weren't really like my superiors and people who I worked with in entertainment. They weren't really like embracing, giving people help, healing, recovery. And then things just got so bad with me that it was clear that they needed to do that. But I just kept saying, you need to keep doing this for all the other teen moms, all the other people. And until, I don't know. What do you think when you watch reality TV? What do you think these people on reality TV who sign up and do this, what do you think that they deserve when they're let go wrongfully, rightfully? The show has ended. It made a term. We got to move on. What do you think those people deserve at the end of that?
I think they deserve whatever they're contractually obligated to receive. I'm a very black and white guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think that if we have something in writing that says, okay, Jeff, you're going to do this, this, and this on this show for this term, you're going to be compensated like this.
Yeah.
And here's NDAs, everything else, boom, boom, boom. That's it.
They do psych tests for reality shows.
They do.
Which holds them liable for your mental state.
My question to you is, how real is reality TV compared to the producers that are behind the scenes kind of either egging you on or other people and body language and stuff like that to kind of prompt you to elicit a response that they want? Because again, if it's boring, that doesn't make for good TV. Sponsors aren't going to sign up for that. They need stuff that's salacious, stuff that's spicy.
I honestly got to say real life is spicy. My real life is so rich, full of color, spicy, to some points that, maybe I got fired from it. But what is different about different reality televisions? And I say this because all reality is not created equal, just like sports, just like anything else. But you do have to have something at the end of whatever we were trying to poke the bear for, whatever we were trying to do an initial psych evaluation for, so then I can go use psychologists on the back end of my show to know what we need to do to this human to kind of, we're going to try to mold and shape her and say it's reality television, but we're actually adding outside pressures, peer pressures. We're finding other people like XYZ backgrounds to go be in their homes, for me anyway. And I think no matter what, you do have that, like in real life, guys, if you are to give emotional abuse and trauma to anyone, people are getting compensated getting out of their relationships because of this. They're getting compensated at work because of this. So when I do reality television and you're psych evaluating me, you're purposely leaving out my ADA compliant disabilities, You're not listening to anything that I say. You say I'm getting casted to show my real life. You're not showing my real life to people. So I got people coming up to me acting like I'm the stupidest teen mom they've ever known. Half of them are like, oh my God, you're actually pretty in real life. They think I'm ugly. And, it's just like we're missing reality every step of this reality TV show. And my life is more amazing than the TV show ever showed anyone. And that should be on television. But I had women suppressing men and women behind the TV shows. And that's who created the storyline. It wasn't the editors who are hired to shut up and edit how they tell them. And I think once you realize how there is this flow, there is above the line and there is below the line in production. And you have to be a strong talent to come to bat for below the line production people like I did many of times. I give them jobs. I help them get more money. No one could be producer. I just took like filmers and I made them producers. And I had to let people go because they wanted to influence me badly. I had people above the line pressure me to ignore the things that I saw around me. And I think like that's the biggest thing about life. You get to choose who is around you and nobody gets to tell you like you are forced to be around this person. And I had people consistently telling me this for 10 years. They always made me feel lesser than. They always disvalued who I was. They'd be like, oh, you're ancillary talent. Like you're not lead talent. And it's like, dude, I could be ancillary. I could be an extra in the back. I'm still getting paid more than anyone here. I'm still staying at the same hotels as executive producers, above the line people, while the other talent are over there in bumfuck too. And I just need to see why these people feel that they can create emotional turmoil to someone and walk away and feel like they're not going to take accountability, which is a healing center. Like a healing center, trauma center. And so eventually now we start seeing from my cast, which I'm not saying is for other reality TVs, but I do feel like hopefully someone hears this and they're like, wow, I should advocate for myself because this is what's going on. I am probably being told what to do. I was casted to play a character that was actually outside of my real identity. And I'm having an identity crisis. Like, why don't we just say, I'm having an identity crisis because this is affecting me. The emotional toll that's on me is just, it's hard to bear. And I do feel like casting has to be held accountable. Like recently, I was casted for a Netflix live show and it's called Pop the Balloon. Holy shit. I think everybody had a visceral reaction to the first episode, wanted to cancel it immediately. And I was casted. They asked me, are you dating seriously? And they're like, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for a guardian of my soul. I've paid and done a lot of personal work and I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. I know my top 5. And I only see what I know that I need. So they loved it. They're like, oh yeah, we only want people who date seriously. First episode, you got some guy hiding behind a plant. And no, all the women are like, oh my God, is this like person confident enough to come on a dating show? And I think it was like a celebrity version of this initial like YouTube series. And it just was like horrible. And I just was like, oh, that sits on my heart like in the wrong way. I need to just tell casting like, this isn't for me because you're casting me for something and it comes out like this. And I just believe in like straight up alignment. Again, alignment is key for me now and I just got to stay in mine. So yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in reality TV that's talked about all the time in entertainment, like law and business and the degree I got. And they definitely feel like people need to hold above the line people and networks more accountable. And so, yeah, when I got my degree, I learned all these words. I learned all these things that I witnessed and I struggled through. And it's like, I felt like I wasn't surviving reality TV. And then I just figured it out and I survived the machine of it.
What prompted the pivot to comedy, to stand-up comedy?
I could actually laugh. I could laugh at anything. And I started just laughing so much in life. And it really like the other night, like me and my daughter were laughing so fucking hard. It was like, my daughter's like, oh my God, my cheeks hurt. Like, it's just so happy to know my daughter sees me happy. Hello. But it's like, oh my God, I can just, again, let myself just like flow and like let go. And that's a beautiful space. So yeah. And that's why I let above the line producers and people who like seriously try to ruin my life just come to my comedy show.
And you're literally like, Kill Tony is one of my favorite shows ever.
Okay.
I mean, he just.
How was Kill Tony on Netflix Live, by the way? They had some mixed reviews. Some of the guys are like, some of you comedians need to be grateful, which I actually wrote Tony like a thank you letter. And I feel like they don't get to see thank you letters from comedians often. And I'm just like,
I agree.
Jesus, do you see all this free work that you're putting in? I do feel like comedians are the most undervalued talents, which ruins the content of your entertainment that you get at comedy venues.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff I've seen is scandalous.
Really?
But yeah. Yes.
Like what?
I mean, I had like 50 places trying to like book me. They said, oh, there's a lot of like scamming and comedy. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
What kind of scamming and comedy is there? Like
Yeah.
stealing jokes?
No, they're like, no, like we can't pay you and book you in advance. I go, dude, I have been paid for like over a decade for showing up to nightclubs. Okay. I'm not doing comedy. I'm not doing anything. You book it. We talk deposit. We have a contract. I show up. If I don't, you get it back. What is so hard about the business of this? So I'm letting y'all know. If you don't know, maybe next time you're going to have a little bit more of like, wow, a little bit more compassion for the comedian before you. Those comedians are putting money on a location out of their pocket, not guaranteeing any of those tickets are being sold. You are then having people on the back end who owns the venue. They're nickeling and diming the comedian, whether it's like ticket sales, merch, whatever they want to take, right? It's almost like, why the hell am I showing up? They don't split the food or drink costs, of which is like the main moneymaker, because they're taking half of the seat costs, the tickets. So I'm just saying, you should probably think about this when you're seeing comedians of all statures show up before your eyes to do comedy. And I think for my comedy opening, I just did a business like I've always done business. It's like, this is the fee. You pay for me to get on the plane and show up and go there. And I guess what I learned from that is I had the largest press opening for, I guess, just saying, hey, I'm going to go laugh on a stage with you and have fun and call myself a comedian now. But I also learned like it creates jealousy, envy, and a lot of hatred sometimes with other comedians who have been doing this longer and have been like broken as a human to then go say, I'm going to go do comedian, and they didn't get shit for it. And I think I'm sorry for them and I'm sad for them and I empathize with them. But when I say I'm going to do something, I go all in. Like I am locked in. I am serious. And it's sad what I'm seeing. So what would be my biggest hope for me in like comedy maybe is if I have to graduate my master's. So I'm like locking it in a little bit right now because of all this messiness with comedy club owners, venues, stuff like that, because they're a lot. And even like a lot of my comedy bookers who are dealing with them, they're like, this is like a head spin. This is like a headache. These people are not business people. And so, yeah, once I bounce back, hopefully September, we're actually working on like a residency in Las Vegas. Also,
Really?
I'm out here.
Dude.
I'm looking and meeting with different locations out here who do comedy residencies, who know the business of this. And yeah, and hopefully like record my first like TV special, whether that's on Hulu or Netflix or God only knows, but that's what I'm scripting and working towards and focusing on. I do feel like it is a horrible situation though, what I see and what I hear. And the scammery in comedy is created by them.
Do you go out when you're in Austin to any of the clubs?
I do.
Which ones do you like?
But I only do it when I'm invited to like an event or
Okay.
or invited by like my comedian friends. I don't just go out.
Like how is like Rogan's done Comedy Mothership? What do you think?
Okay. I am totally honest. Okay. So I will say like my daughter does not like anything of like that genre. She doesn't like anything on the mothership probably. So I have to watch the stuff myself. I have to just, a lot of my friends just like won't go and hang out also with me. I think like it takes like a different taste of a human to maybe who's funny themselves, maybe who understands like, I don't know, the grit of this. So I enjoyed going, seeing, and, I judged like a comedy. It's like actually like a huge thing. So I shouldn't just like breeze over this. It is
Was that with you and Tony and like Alexis Fox?
So it's a roast battle and it's like everywhere. And I was even seeing it for Just for Laughs. They're bringing back that comedy festival in Montreal.
That's great.
And they even have like a roast battle section for that. So it's kind of like a big deal. And I was there with Tony and everybody else and up and coming comedians who, again, these up and coming comedians have been doing this way longer than I have.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
And I got mad respect and I play along with it. So yeah, I do feel like there is a certain taste. And I think like when I saw my fans there at the mothership and they're like, I want to shout out Farrah. But you can kind of tell like the audience there has been kind of taught to watch, not say too much, not do too much.
Yeah.
And I think I am like the girl who's like, give me a woo, like give me a, like I need that energy
You
because
feed off of that.
Yeah, I need it. And I don't need anyone being quiet. I do feel like other people are like, don't interrupt me. Again, they're controlling. They like to also control the audience. So I do feel like that's a little weird play. I feel like my audience and my fans, they know they can talk, they can disagree, they can do whatever. We're going to have fun. This is why we're here. And we're not going to waste that opportunity of why we're here being quiet and not getting the most out of it.
Yeah.
Like I showed up, we're getting the most out of this. So yeah, it was a weird vibe. Some jokes didn't hit. I do feel like some people drink a lot. I do feel like some people smoke a lot. And I don't I don't chain smoke. I'll tell you that. I actually detest smoking. So when I'm me, I love watching Kill Tony at home. I love supporting it because I actually watched Kill Tony when he was in Los Angeles at the Comedy Store.
Oh boy.
Because I used to go in there all the time with all the comedians when they were doing their podcasts or just like, hey girl, stop by. I used to live by it. And I was trying to figure out Kill Tony back in the day. And I was also trying to figure out like Joe Rogan back in the day because my friends are sponsoring him to come in. And I think when you're like seeing these guys now like move to the same state that you're in, like relocate, bring all their fun stuff there, I do feel like the Austin, Texas audience will always be better than the Comedy Store or LA audience. Yeah. Hands down. God bless Austin. But I am a little bit less smoke in the air, a little less, I don't know, substance induced. And I am like, give me fucking it straight. Like, give me real talent. Like it's kind of like Lady Gaga, dance or die. We're like, we're going to go all in. We're not half-assing. We're not showing up half. We are showing up all the way. And I do feel like, yeah, some of the jokes can be like out of date. Like when I heard like, oh my God, like if people go on this porn tangent and they're like, oh my God, over here stinks or some stupid like out of date middle school boy joke. I do feel like that comes out quite often in the group. And I do feel like there needs to be an elevation. But when you're with all guys and that's the vibe, I think like it can be there. But I do see, I see most of these comedians as much more than what they are. So like, I love them. Again, I like wrote them a thank you card. And I understand what they're going through to make this happen.
Yeah.
So I got mad respect. And I think like I took it upon myself from like hanging out with a lot of them to be like, how can I write a comedy TV show, whether it was just like, for like 3 seasons or whatever, but I would like to showcase comedians in such a more like acting, like real actor way. Like I believe that they can really act, and like aside from like just hanging out, drinking, smoking, kicking it, doing jokes and stuff all the time, I believe that they have like the power to really show emotional range, because the men that I see in comedy who kind of go like full out, they are more emotionally in touch with themselves, and they would be amazing actors. Like,
Who?
I mean, okay. So Tony Hinchcliffe, shout out to that. Tony Hinchcliffe. I feel like I would program Tony in as like someone's, like he could play the older brother or like even someone's younger brother. And he could just say his like crazy roasting comments to like whatever sister that he has all day long. He does very good at something that is so, I feel like something so easy to make fun of. And I feel like the fun vibe and how Tony's look is, I would cast him in that all day. Like the Fockers, meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
If he could be like that son in there, but like on a new level, 2025, that would be what I would cast. So yeah, I do play with all these things in my mind right now while I'm like
For you.
looking at all this. But yeah, I'm excited. What do you think about Kill Tonys and all this stuff? Some of my guy friends love it. Some of them don't.
Okay. So I started listening to Kill Tony when I saw the Brady roast.
Okay.
And when I saw Tony Hinchcliffe get up there, and it was like he was playing a Steinway grand piano. I have goosebumps, honey, about how and I've seen him be interviewed on podcasts. He was literally writing down notes before he even went up, because some people were saying stuff that he was going to say.
Yeah, you have to change.
So he was pivoting in real fucking time, and how he got up there and just like a sniper.
Yeah.
Just went, pissed off Brady, which I fucking love that.
Well, thank God, because
Love
everyone
that.
was kissing his ass.
Yes.
Is that a fucking roast?
Yes.
No, I almost thought it was one of the worst roasts of all time. Everyone's like, it's the best roast. It got the most views. Good for your ego. But if you're on a roast and you're kissing someone's ass, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
On the roast battle, do they do that? No. So yeah, he did. He went in.
That was what. So then I was like, what's Kill Tony? Because I listen to Rogue every once in a while.
Yeah.
So now I listen to Kill Tony all the time.
Good.
I think he is empathetic to young startup comics. And so you get up there, you get a minute, you get the minute interview afterwards. Let's see what you got, bud.
Yeah.
But I see how when he's interviewing people, Farrah, he is more empathetic to those that say, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been doing this for 2 years. If you get up and say, it's my first time. I just got into town a week ago and I've never done this in my entire life. And this is my first time ever, my second time. He isn't as sympathetic to those people.
Totally fine.
Which is fine.
Totally fine.
He wants to see people, he wants to pull someone's name out of that fucking hat that has already put their time in and gotten their ass kicked at little podunk cities all over the United States, because it's funny when they're all talking, they know about Yuck Yucks in Cincinnati or the Laugh Factory in Tampa or wherever these little clubs are.
Yeah.
They know from memory where the bathroom is, where did it blow, and all this other stuff. And it's hilarious. And so I like that type of, you don't know what you're going to get. A lot of them, they suck. They get up there, they bomb. But
why? But why?
Because they haven't put the time in.
But I don't think that's the reason.
Really?
I feel like, and by the way, I had some like comedians actually fly in and be like, oh, I'm in the line and it's like 200 deep for Kill Tony and it's going to like take all day and da-da-da-da-da. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine, because I don't do that in my life. If I was starved, like I'm a hangry bitch. If I was starved, if I was fucking waiting out there more than 3 hours, by the time I fucking got on a Kill Tony stage, I'm killing the whole fucking host stand, okay? I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I am funny, because I was out there strung the fuck out.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You can't have me parched as fuck, underpaid, standing out there and you think I'm going to be funny? I might be a little enraged. I might be a little spiteful. Might be fucking crazy, unhinged. So I don't know. I don't really blame them.
He also, well, no, and
I don't really blame him.
I totally get what you're saying.
I'm like, damn, that's endurance.
I also think he has a thing for people with mental, physical, verbal deformities. That's his thing.
Don't we all have those?
That's called date night with my wife usually. To me, that's hilarious. If someone comes up and they have a tic or something, their voice is off pitch, and he just like peanut butter and jelly, man. He fucking gets on that and loves that, and they get a big joke book.
Yes,
and then they're encouraged to come back again. So.
Nicotine patches. Save the world.
Jesus Christ. I have great respect for him because he's trying to make it better. Like Rogan was the one that really put Austin on the map, I think, for comedy.
Good.
But Tony's the one that's really saying he's making an incubator for people that are trying to hone their craft.
So many friends.
I love that.
And so many friends of Tony's who you see like Roast Battle, anyone else who's coming in with like groups and allowing groups in, that is the key component to having a comedy industry, is having those opportunities, other people creating shows and doing their tours. Otherwise, I don't really see or foresee a comedy industry growing. And I think also when I saw like Just for Laughs, again, the comedy festivals come back in Montreal, they are stating more than ever, like, if there's a comedian listening to this right now, I feel like you need to jump and take advantage of this because it's closing like next week or whatever. But on Film Freeway, you can go on and you as a comedian with all of your talent can find like 2 or 3 different categories where you can apply. They are taking the people who apply to those Film Freeway opportunities and they are nurturing their careers. And again, if I could see that at all festivals, because I definitely wasn't at Moon Tower Festival or Moon Tower Comedy Festival in Austin, Texas. It's like almost like a waste of space, a waste of time to keep doing festivals if you are not giving back to a community. So comedy needs to give back handfuls to their community and not starve them and stifle them.
I loved your comment previously about how, like when I was growing up, it was like Eddie Murphy in 48 Hours. You know, Trading Places even.
Rush Hour, I like that comedy.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
There's several movies that these guys came up through the ranks and they could, but you can't even make a movie like that anymore.
I feel it.
Especially in LA. There's no fucking way you can make it in LA. And that's why that now like people are saying like they're trying to push now for more tax incentives in Texas. More people are looking at Georgia, Canada, overseas.
Yeah.
Because I mean, LA's dying.
Yeah.
Dying on the vine. We all know that.
I mean, actors are being murdered. I mean, it's real.
It's awful.
It's just not safe to work.
Yeah. I mean, I have clients there and I fly in the morning. I see them. I get the fuck out.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing this Friday. I'm flying into a comedy show and I'm out early in the morning. Like,
and it's like, I have dear friends there who I love. Farrah,
I hope they get out and they're safe. I'm sorry. I had to get out. I had to get out.
Hope you're okay.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
People whose homes were just, the fires came through Pacific Palisades.
Yeah. Was that not alarming? Maybe that's a sign.
And the mayor still is just like blaming other people and they fired the lesbian fire chief and that's going to help, but what?
No.
What?
So I can't with people who don't, again, action. We need to save people's houses, save people.
Let's go. Yeah. I mean, to come back to the movie thing.
Yes.
It would be awesome to see some of these guys and girls who are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Give them carte blanche to say, send me your script. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
Put something down and let's do something. Let's get funding for this thing and let's go.
Yeah.
Because there are people, present company included, dying.
Yeah.
Dying for stuff like that.
I've been dying for it. I mean, I just feel like you got to just start writing it and making a will in a way. So, yeah.
Well, it's just something that it's the thing with Trump. Like my daughter texted me this morning saying, well, he wants to turn Alcatraz into a prison again.
Okay.
And I said, okay, well, what do you mean? Well, that would mean blah, 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 blah. I go, honey, guess what? That actually happening is so far away from actual reality, but he's trying to break this fixed
The mold.
mindset
Yeah.
to more of a growth mindset to go,
Yes.
we have all these criminals. We can't deport them all. Some of them are going to have to stay here.
Yeah.
We don't have the room for it all. So where can we put them?
Yeah.
What's a good super max facility to put them? And it used to be Alcatraz.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's it. So at least it's an option. Let's at least have the discussion.
Yeah. We need to like expand our horizons. We do need a growth mindset. And, if someone who has been an acquisitions and developer like Trump, who is like, cool, I'll just find the location, I'll acquire it. I know how to do this. I know how to get the funding. It's like actually not anything crazy to talk about. And I don't think me personally, I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh yeah, I would love to keep paying taxes for, I don't even know, like sex offenders. I can't stand them right now. I don't want to they don't deserve $1 of my tax dollars. And they're happy about ruining and hurting our society. And I just feel like if anyone is truly the criminal, like I've been looked at as a criminal, but like if someone is truly the cause of lots of hurting in our society, by all means, deport them to any other nation and country that saves us money, because that actually is truly the best thing to do, because they don't have any remorse. They don't care. They don't want to be a part of society in a helpful way. They may not even want to help people in the jail system. I have some of my friends' sons who will always be in jail, but they're always being stand-up people in jail. They're always giving back. They're always helping. And they're trying to, they're turning their life, the leaf around. So yeah, save your money, people. Save it.
One of my last questions is, what do you think of Doge and what Elon Musk is doing?
Doge. Well, I love auditing. I mean, girl,
Amen,
I'm like,
sister.
girl,
Amen.
I'm a good auditor. I'm a teen mom. I like to save money. And again, like I probably said this before, I have had the IRS audit me and take hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's when I turned my life around, because I was no longer going to have them be in my bank accounts, steal money, and act like I was like criminally, like fraudulently doing my taxes.
Yeah.
And so I learned so much from that experience. I believe in Doge all day long. I mean, if people want to mess with us, I think someone needs to mess with the system, hold them accountable, and investigate it. And I think that'll save us tax dollars to fund. I don't know what IRS is doing. At a point they were like, oh, we don't have enough funding. We're not showing up to work. And we'll get to your case when we get to it, as they still take money out of my account.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a tax attorney, and I don't do like CPAs, definitely not an HR black girl. Because it gets you into trouble. A lot of countries do not even do taxes. So it's like, would other countries need a Doge? I don't think so. But we do need a Doge at this time.
Absolutely.
In our world. I'm not saying we need a Doge in the future when everything's sorted out, simplified, and we all see where the money is going, and people don't have IRS in their bank accounts and stealing more money from them. So until that day comes around, we do need someone holding people accountable.
I love how the left says, well, it's billionaires lining their own pockets with what's going on. I'm like, Musk isn't taking a dime from this. Musk isn't benefiting at all from this. I
think only like they keep, doing business better and better and better, which everybody should if they're in that position. And also like Trump, our president, just said he's going to donate his salary again. So it's like these people know how to make money. They know how to save your money. They know how to maximize money. And I think everybody needs to do something more strategic and make the economy money. Like sometimes to get to that, you do need an audit. And then, wow, you're like, oh my God, I start saving more money and I start having more money and I stack it. And then you become wealthier.
Mm-hmm.
So I think instead of hating people who have been gifted the opportunity in their families already to know about money. And also they got educated in it, whether that was schooling or something else. Again, acquisitions, finance, those kind of things, you need to learn no matter what. And those people are using that, and you get to follow them on the news now. You get to kind of hate it, but you learn from it. So I don't know. I think it's a good thing. I couldn't do the same with Biden and Kamala. I could not do the same with them.
Well, look at how transparent Trump is literally doing a press conference from the Oval Office almost every fucking day, or Air Force One.
Literally, I was like, this thing's in the air and we're doing press. I love it.
This guy, like, whatever he's on, I want some. 78 years old, whatever. And he is go. And Biden, you didn't hear from him.
You didn't see him.
Months.
Yeah.
You didn't see him for months, Farrah.
I think that's concerning.
Well, I'm a big fan of when in doubt, disclose.
Yeah.
Disclose.
Or just say what you're going through. Either way.
And you never had that from Biden, but Trump and Musk all the time, they're putting out, this is what we're doing. JD Vance, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. We're putting America first. How can you not love that?
I actually love it. I love also like the stuff that they say, like about like what they're doing to like protect our kids from sex trafficking and all this other stuff. I need to see that all day long, putting murderers away of our moms, like that are passed now and their kids are alive. And I need to see and hear that there is some justice in this world. So I'm happy that they do more press conferences. They fly families in, that they're including the people that they're taking. You know, everybody takes money from us. And I do feel like everybody needs to be included. I will say I was at Mar-a-Lago not too long ago, and I was highly impressed with someone who, yes, you're like saying, this person's 78 years old. What is going on with their vitamins and their health? Yeah, that day, I had no idea. But my friends who came to the event with me, like Trump had been going to like, I swear to God, like 4 of his golf locations in Florida that day was at Mar-a-Lago too. Is still doing business, having dinner. Like, the guy is woke back up the next morning, hits some golf, has brunch, doing meetings. Like, this person is not lonely. This person is like engaging, is having fun, is like meeting all these presidents from different places who are there at this event that I was at there. And I am truly intrigued by that magnitude. Like, I hope if I was 78, I still want to do business. I still want to fly around. I still want to pack as much as I can into life and still help, support my grandkids and everybody else. So I do feel like that is a talent. And we are really lucky to have an example of that because it keeps, I think, everybody going. Like, it makes me want to go more. You know what I'm saying?
It's a great inspiration.
It's a good inspiration. And I like that energy.
Like, how many people go to Florida, retire, and they're dead within, 3 or 4 years?
I mean, my granddad didn't live past 78. Didn't want to do that. I mean, so again, like, my family is different. I'm encouraged and inspired to see other people showing me like, wow, could be your 78. This could be, we get to create our lives. It's not like you have to repeat your family. So,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, my dear, for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
This
I could talk all day.
It's been, but it's like we talked about before. It's once you get going, it's like you don't know that this is here and all this shit's here.
Yeah.
It's just, we're just kind of fucking hanging out. Would love to have you back on in a few months.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're doing like a residency.
Jesus.
Get your ass back over here.
Let's talk more.
And we'll do that because I would love to start getting also stand-up comics on here.
Yes.
Just to
all
give
day
them,
long. You would have so much fun with that.
To give them an audience here.
Yeah, learn about their lives.
Right. Because there's just
beyond a stage.
What you were so good just in closing about like the work that goes into that. People don't know.
Yeah, have some empathy there.
Have some empathy.
Serious,
so, Thank you, my love, very much.
Thank you.